Good afternoon, all. Paul from CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Friday afternoon, November 14th. We're looking at window traders' market profile of the ES and the NQ. We'll recap all three of these indices charts. That was one of the most vicious short cover and rip we've seen. We had large gaps lower, $4, $6, run up and cover them, go trend up, tremendous ranges, heavy volume. But the bottom line is this. Look at these profiles. Yes, we're trend up, but they are clearly P-shapes. The majority of this rip was short covering from yesterday, the overnight, and they just ripped them. Okay? Now, we spent the day in ES between the two, lower and middle distribution. Don't forget, we had a triple distribution day down yesterday. Well, we have a double up today. We have an inside week in ES. They did not take out the weekly low, so they are still balanced for 3 weeks. They defended the balance low. We talk about balance rules. Well, here was the balance low on the weekly. Look how close they got. Talk about balance rules, much more important than gap rules. As far as gap rules went today, you had a chance to make some money early, but if you fought it after that, you got annihilated. Righty. Again, same thing, P-shape. Now, they don't go out with a trend day. They go out with an afternoon pullback and a 9-wide POC. Okay? Don't forget, they're a triple distribution day from yesterday. They spent the majority of the day trading between the lower and lower distribution and inside the single prints below the middle distribution. Okay? We had very nice buy tails today. So the intraday is very positive with the trend day and the buy tails and things of that nature. However, that's just an intraday, right? The bulls. And by the way, on our checklist sheet, we started 4-0 bears this morning. Gap, value, indices, and we got the overnight low. Well, then it flipped big time towards the bulls, but it ended pretty close. ES won for the bulls 5-3 and Q won for the bulls 4-3 as they pulled value to unchanged late in the day, NQ. Incredible moves. Short time traders, algos. The emotion is just mind-numbing, but it shows you how vicious it could be, right? That short covering was outright vicious after about the first 10 minutes of A, B, C, D. It really was. And then they finally came into some sort of balance and played, sideways. We had the value play come into play in all three indices. Only NQ was successful. They got value high. ES did not. Righty did not. I had a good day. I had some losses throughout the day, but I had a good day overall. Got a lot of the staple plays. I got the overnight low and A period fairly quick. I made on one ebb and flow short in A, then I lost on another, and then when they started pushing, guess what? I said, even though it's 4-0 bears at this point, I'm not looking to short it. I didn't look long at either in A, and I don't mind that. I don't have a problem with that. So I had a good A period. B period, I did take the long to get A's high. Got paid on that. I didn't do anything else in B period. Too choppy, I wasn't sure what they really wanted to do. C period, I got the long to get the IB high. So I had a very nice longs on those, and then I shut down my personal. Now D period, I did make money to get on a long to get the overnight highs. We got both overnights at that point in NQ. ES also did. I did lose on one ebb and flow long, actually, because it pulled back more than I wanted it to. In D period. I also took a loss in D against yesterday's half. Was it D period? Yeah. I took a long when it pulled back to yesterday's No, wait a second. I wrote half back. Couldn't have been half back. I'm not sure. But I lost on two ebb and flow longs in D. I did make money on a single print fill in D though. To get one of the single prints, did okay on that. Then in the afternoon, I long G period on some ebb and flow because we were one time framing up. Then that stopped and I looked for an afternoon pullback. I longed H and I did well on both of them. I did not get caught, even though they were kept coming, pushing down. They were giving us pushes back up. And believe it or not, I went to M and Q and H and I on those. I'm like, you know what? The way this market's trading, we had a trend day, but we never had value in our favor for the bulls. The indices briefly in NQ. So even though I didn't expect them to take back all of today, that would have been just way too much after that rip up off the lows. It still wasn't as comfortable as if you had higher value, higher indices, So I wasn't staying in these things long, but I did okay in H and I. And those were my last trades of the day. That was it. So I think we saw the day well. Once we took a step back in A period when they started ripping, we're like, well, this is more. This is definitely more than what I was expecting. So I didn't want to get hurt. I did not. I actually took the long, I don't know if I said that, in B period to also get the gap fill. So it did well overall. Let's go to these charts because this should be a little interesting and fun to see what's happening here with about 6 weeks to go in our trading year, right? And by the way, after all that, where did SPY close? We're up $1 for the week in the S&P. Think about that after all that. So our volumes are tremendous. 92.5 million, very good. 20 million over average in SPY. Look at Q, 77 million, 30 million above average. Look at IWM, 57, 23 million above average. Range and volume, that's all we can ask for. But it is still short-term traders. That you can be sure of. Because I can tell you this, there's no way on this God's green earth long-term money would gap down $6 and let them take back the gap. I was talking in the trading room. I used to be a specialist, right? Our job was to make a market. If I had ever gapped the stock down $6 and it took that gap back within an hour, I would have lost the stock. They would have taken it away from me. The company would have went through the roof. The traders on the floor. It goes to show you it doesn't matter anymore. There's no responsibility. There's no accountability. It doesn't matter. It's the Wild West. So, here's our monthly in Russell. It's a 3-month balance now. I would use September's low because we've gotten within $2 of it. If we go even lower over the next 2 weeks, we might even encompass August. But for now, it's a 3-month balance. It's still forming. Don't forget the excess we had at the all-time high. Talked about that a lot. Well, it's held, even though they made a new all-time high in the overnight above that excess. All three of us have our all-time highs in the overnight. The weekly is down. Okay? In fact, I think we had an outside week down by a little bit, right? 2-4. Well, IWM did. I'm not sure if the righty did. Oh, no, he didn't. I take that back. Hold on. Last week's low was 41.61. Last week's low was 230. No, we did not. I apologize. We did not have an outside week down. But we're down on the monthly. So the monthly is weekly. The monthly is balanced. The weekly is down. The daily is down. Yeah, right? Some changes, right? NQ. Monthly's up. It's an inside month. So if by some chance we have an inside month, it'll stop the trend from, but it wouldn't stop the one-time framing on the monthly. Okay? So right now, last month's low is 589, 608, so we're still $20 above last month's low. Good chance for an inside month? Potentially. So the monthly's up. Now here's a tough one. I'm calling the weekly down. Even with that vicious rally, I said if they take out, I was calling it a 3-week balance, the last 3 weeks, coming into this week. I'm calling it down. Some people might say we just stretched it and they're still calling it balance. I don't have a problem with that. I'm going to give the bears their due a little bit. So for me, the monthly is up, the weekly is down in NQ. The daily is down. Okay? We closed below the 20 and the 50. That's the first time we've closed below the 50 since, let me see, this day. 565. Nope, we closed above it. That's the first day we've closed below the 50-day moving average. Guess what? April 30th. So from the really horrible month in April, that spent the whole month below the 50, as you can see. Today is the first day. Does that signify, it's over? Of course not. But it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I always say 1 day, 1 week doesn't make a market. But let's keep an eye on that now. This is the first day we've closed below the 50 since April 30th. So monthly up, daily and weekly are down. Let's see the S&P. The monthly is up. Same thing, inside month. Now, last month's low, 682. No, it's not. What am I saying? 652. So we're still $19 above it. Now, look, we had a $13 range today in NQ and a big range in ES. So even though that's a lot off last month's low, doesn't mean we can't get there. Okay? So doesn't mean we can't get to last month's high either. So right now the monthly is up. The reason I'm kind of stressing all that is I want the monthly to come into balance. And I don't want an inside month because to me that's not full balance. You still want time framing up 7 months if that's the case. I would like to take out a monthly low. So that's why I've been stressing that. The weekly is balanced. We didn't take out last week's low. It's a 3-week balance. It's an inside week. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. If you come out of it to the downside, good odds we go down on the weekly. Come out of it to the upside, though, doesn't necessarily mean we're going to get the all-time high and come out of the weekly balance up. And the daily is down. Okay? 96 million on the tape. Now, we closed above the 50. We closed above the 50 back on November 6th. We bounced off the 50 this day. Why am I saying that? Because when's the last time we were below the 50-day moving average? I'll give you one guess. April 30th. So NQ closed below it. 1 day doesn't make a market. ES, 2 out of the last 6 days, 7 days have closed above it. That doesn't mean much either, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on. Are sellers going to get rejected from the 50, or are we going to finally get acceptance below and potentially go test the 200-day moving average again? All remains to be seen. Very, very fascinating week. I hope you had a good week trading and a safe week. If you're having trouble, I advise you to check us out at camelbacktrading.org. Rest up, enjoy your weekend, stay safe, and we'll speak prior to the opening on Monday.